Well, we're here in the chief's office, and we've been upgraded, or we've been promoted.
Yes.
And we got booted out of the lieutenant's office, and we moved into the chief's office. Chris Popper, I'm joined by Teri Linscott, who is one of the dispatchers here at the Ellsworth Police Department, correct?
That's correct.
And we're continuing our Meet the Ellsworth Police Department series, and Teri's one of the people that you will first talk to should you call the Ellsworth Police Department, the non-emergency number, or if you come into City Hall and come into the police department, Teri's at the window.
I am.
So, being a dispatcher, you are a huge multitasker.
Yeah, that's true.
Because at any one time, you can be talking to someone at the window, having multiple police cruiser conversations, and then having all of a sudden the Hancock Regional Communications Center sending a 911 call to you as well.
Yes, that's correct.
So it's like you've got to be able to process and prioritize, and your brain's got to be going in 18 different directions at once.
Yes, and the really fun ones are the ones that are the accidents that have any kind of injury, because then I'm on the phone with county ambulance, giving them info, toning out the fire department, toning out the police, answering their questions, and then we're getting multiple calls on the accident. So you do have to kind of prioritize on the fly.
Exactly.
It's a challenge.
You've been here at the working for Ellsworth for how long?
It's been 4 years this month.
Okay, congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And prior to that, you worked at where?
Town Auto and County Ambulance.
So the county ambulance gave you a little bit of a preview as to...
A little bit, because I really didn't, I was mostly HR and office for them,
Okay.
but I did get to hear a lot of the stories and see firsthand when they were in the office and would get called out, some of that.
Yeah. What's the thing you like the most about working here at the police and department?
Well, I love working with the public. I always have. I've always had some kind of a job with the public, and I love meeting people, and it's very rewarding to me if people call up with a problem and they're very upset and I can help talk them down and de-escalate things. I like to make people feel more comfortable and be able to sort of express themselves. 'Cause sometimes you get people that are so upset they're yelling and screaming, and you just have to bring them back down and help them get through to the...
It's hard.
It is, but I really enjoy that. I like helping people.
That's a real gift to have, to be able to get people to slow down and breathe a little bit.
Well, thank you. It is something that I've always enjoyed doing, so it's nice to have a job where I can utilize that skill.
You see the police department in a unique manner in that you don't work days, you don't work nights. You're kind of the swing dispatcher.
Yes, I am. I see the busy days. I see some nights when there's not a call that happens all night. It's very interesting, the dynamics of the different shifts, and you don't see it till you work them all. That's for sure.
But there are also nights when probably the phone doesn't stop and the radio communication doesn't stop as well.
Yes.
So working that's tough in terms of your body and your family and everything.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate that my children are now adults. They both have moved out and are on their own, but even when they were home, it could be difficult.
Yeah.
They'd want to be woken up in the morning for school, and I'd have to call them from work because I wasn't out yet. It had some challenges.
Right.
And, thankfully, I have a very, very understanding partner at home, and he understands the crazy hours. Doesn't like them, but he understands them.
Well, it's part of paying the dues, though, and stuff like that. And people don't, I think, they forget that, nowadays people have to pay the dues when getting into newer positions. And there's probably not a tremendous amount of turnover in the dispatching.
No, usually if people make it through the first few years, they'll be here for a while.
Yeah.
The turnover happens usually in the first 6 months to a year. People will say, oh, this isn't for me, I can't do this.
And, you know, it's funny because I don't think people realize, I mean, I've been lucky. I've been able to go along on ride-alongs, and I have neighbors that are police officers, so I know what they do. People don't realize what police officers and dispatchers, I mean, the people behind the scenes do on a daily basis, and the terror and the tenor of the calls that come in.
Yes, it's even you might see on TV certain things happen, and it's not really the way things go, and things don't always go smoothly. So you have to be prepared for everything and expect the unexpected, and that's exactly what happens most of the time.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you've got to be very protective of the patrol persons that are out on duty. I mean, you are their voice, their anchor here.
Yes.
And that's a big responsibility.
There was one call in particular, it happened a year or two ago. One of the officers had come upon a fight while he was out, and he hollered through the radio where he was, and we couldn't hear it. And we tried to get back to him, and he couldn't respond to us because he was in the middle of the fight breaking it up. And even the sheriff's office couldn't understand what he said, and we listened to the call over and over, and nobody knew where he was, and it was total panic. And that was probably one of the scariest things that's happened while I was on duty for an officer anyway.
I mean, when you think about it, I'm not sure how big Ellsworth is in terms of square mileage, but I mean, there aren't, especially at certain times, a tremendous amount of police presence out on the street.
That's correct. And in the evening and at night, depending on what's going on, you know, sometimes you'll have somebody call out sick, can't fill the shift, so you're sometimes down a few guys. And if you've got a couple people off at, say, a possible domestic, and then you get another call for a PD accident and there might be injuries, and you're scrambling trying to help get coverage, you know, find somebody to come in and take care of one. And I feel bad for the people that don't understand. Sometimes they'll call with maybe a dog and a hot car complaint, but if our officers are breaking up a domestic fight, that obviously has to take priority.
Right.
And some people get very frustrated and they'll call back, where are they, where are they? And all we can say is we're going to get there as soon as we can, you know, but if it's not a life or death situation in one case, we have to prioritize.
Right. It's all triaging and sending people to where I guess they're needed at that very, very moment.
Yes.
If you could tell the public anything in terms of, you know, when they call the dispatch or they come in, what words of advice can you give them?
The best way for us to help you, if you were to call, is to get directly to the point of what you need right now. We're, of course, very concerned about you and very concerned about what's going on, but if you give us a lot of backstory leading up to it, I know that's important, and it's important to the person calling, but we have to know right now where we need to send the officers to get the help started. So it would be great if people understand that when we cut them off and say, I need to know where you are, it's not that we're not interested in what they're saying, it's that we want to get them the help that they need as quickly as possible. So if when people call up, they could immediately say, somebody's at my house, they won't leave, rather than tell us, we broke up 2 months ago and he got a girlfriend and then we fought about it. It would just be very helpful if we could narrow it down to what's needed right now, right, and then you can tell us the backstory afterwards. But we want to get people started to help you and get somebody there as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, and so you've got to know the nature of the complaint, the location of the complaint. Are there guns involved?
Exactly. Yeah, we have to know if there are weapons involved.
How many people are involved?
People are there. If you're a place that you're safe right now, where you're calling from. If you're locked into a room so they can't get to you. Names, because sometimes that helps us know who we're dealing with. We know some people. You
have reputations.
Yeah, and you can come in, you know, a certain way, and other times you might have to come in a little more aggressively because
right,
you know what you're dealing with.
Phone numbers, callback numbers.
Yep, just in case we get disconnected, we need to be able to call you back.
Yeah, and also probably if there are children involved.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Calls to the police department, they probably have changed in the 4 years since you've been here in terms of the nature of the calls and the call volume.
Yes, definitely. Yes, I've noticed quite an increase. I've noticed a lot more, sadly, a lot more domestic issues.
Yeah.
There's a lot more going on now with Facebook than there was before. A lot of people saying, you know,
There's
things
bullying and stuff like.
Yes, and my picture showed up on Facebook. It's my ex-boyfriend. I didn't think you put it online. A lot of that just you didn't hear as much of 4 years ago.
Technology has brought a whole different level of complaints and issues.
It definitely has.
In terms of, let's talk protection orders and things like that. If people are involved, I mean, because domestic abuse is such an issue, and I mean, of course, there was that terrible tragedy, Christmas a year ago and stuff.
Yes.
If people are involved in a domestic incident, what should they do?
When it's going on, it is best to get away. If you can get away and get in the car and leave and call from someplace safe, that's always your best option. If it's in progress and you can't get away, if you can holler to somebody to call 911, you know, if you've got a neighbor there that's looking on, have them call 911 or call yourself. You know, you can just give us the basics. You know, say, this is where I am. This is what's going on. He has a gun, he has a knife, or he's verbally threatening me, whatever the case is. After the fact, some people don't call till afterwards. It's always best to report it, you know, even if somebody comes in, makes a threat, and then they walk away and you no longer feel threatened at that moment, still call us. Let us know what's going on.
They can come in. You guys are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. If people don't know where the Ellsworth Police Department is, you're right in City Hall.
Yes, backside of City Hall, right there.
And I mean, I think that's an important thing. There are some communities that don't have the dispatchers on 24 hours a day.
That's true. And I forget about that sometimes. And sometimes people will say, well, if I want to come in and pick up an accident report, what hours are you open? And it's not until then that I remember, oh, that's right. Everybody's 24 hours.
And that's, I mean, I think you look at this, the savings that the regional call centers, the 911 centers have brought about, but all of those 911 calls that originate in the city of Ellsworth go right to you after they go to the regional center.
They do. Yep. Unless they're medical calls, they'll continue on with a caller with the medical calls while they dispatch county. But yeah, if it's for Ellsworth or Trenton Fire or Ellsworth Police Department, it will come right to us.
And I mean, having been on the Bangor City Council, I know the importance of having local dispatchers. I mean, you know the city of Ellsworth. You know how to direct an Ellsworth Police Department officer or a fire truck. If they don't know how to get somewhere, because, I mean, let's face it, they're not driving with GPSs in their car. You can get them to where they need to go.
Yes. And a lot of times callers are from away, especially this time of year, and they don't know where they are.
Well.
So they'll have to give you some kind of a
landmark.
I'm right next to some business that says blah, blah, blah. So then you can go from there. So I feel very fortunate that way, that we are a community dispatch. I feel bad for RCC. They do a great job. Don't get me wrong, but I feel bad for them that they kind of have to feel their way around such a wider area than what we have.
Right.
That I hats off to them for being able to do it.
I mean, when you increase the area that you're responsible for, I mean, they say Main Street. Well, Main Street where?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole thing. In terms of people having signage on their house, I know that's a big thing. You need to have street numbers visible, so that way
Definitely.
a police officer, an ambulance attendant, the fire truck, when they go by, when they're shining the light, they want to be able to see the number. I mean, it's the worst thing in the world is, oh my God, I think it's somewhere around here, but you're trying to find the street number. So make sure you've got big street numbers.
Definitely. I cannot tell you how many times our officers have said, I can't tell, it goes right from this number to this number and I can't see.
Right.
It does make it difficult, especially at night.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just so, have it yourself. And I know from with you saying you're toning out the fire trucks, to have a working smoke detector is so crucial.
It is. It really is. People do not. They just think, oh, you know, I'll get around to it, or I know the batteries are dead, but someday I'll get around to it. It is very, very important to have that. It's a lot of times it's what goes off, and people are alerted before they ever know there's a problem.
Right.
You might not smell the smoke. You might not see the flames. It might be something in the wall. You never know, and that's
right. And
it's a lifesaver.
Exactly. All right, camera's yours. What do you want to tell the citizens of Ellsworth?
Oh, just we're here if you need us. You know, please feel free to give us a call. Don't feel intimidated. Don't feel that you don't want to bother us because you think it may be something small. We're here to help. We're here to assist the citizens, and we just want you to know that we're available. You can stop in if you have concerns and just want to talk, or if you have any issues that you're just not quite sure where to go with it. We're a good resource. We can point you in the right direction even if we can't help you.
Non-emergency number is
667-2168 or 2133.
Of course, if there's an emergency, 911.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's this week, or this latest version of Meet the Ellsworth police officer and the dispatcher, the voice behind the Ellsworth police officer. Thank you for watching. Check out all the videos we have in the Meet the Ellsworth Police Department series and all the other videos we have on the WDEA YouTube channel.